Hi, welcome to FTT DeFi. It's lovely to have you here today. If I could just start by asking you to introduce yourself and just tell us a bit about yourself and what it is you do with AgriLedger.
Sure, I'm Genevieve Leveille, and I'm the founder and CEO of AgriLedger. And I basically have built a solution using blockchain technology, working in the agricultural value chain. And it's very important to say value because it's really about tracking and tracing products and commodities through their journey to basically create I would say, assurance of their value or their loss, and then bringing in to the producers or those who are part of that value chain a better and equitable distribution. And the way that is done is also by working with the buyers and the financial institutions to redistribute the funds to those who have participated in the transaction.
Fantastic, and I know throughout your career you've worked with a number of different blockchain and decentralized and other kind of fintech bodies and groups and companies. So putting all that together, and here today at FTT DeFi, what do you think are some of the most promising opportunities for DeFi to make some kind of transformative impact in particularly developing economies?
I think that the opportunities are endless, and what I think is most important is that the word is out. I remember 6-7 years ago, and this wasn't something that you would see. You were seeing a lot of things around this new thing of cryptocurrency and blockchain, but now I would say the last 2 years have been horrible in some ways, but they've been wonderful in that it really gave people time to think and to really create. And now we're seeing where people are starting to understand and heads are nodding and understanding what the possibilities are. And we can then see better use of financial instruments to really, because we have a lot of idle cash, which is not reaching those who really need it. So part of the reason was the lack of transparency of what is happening, the risk that is taken, because finance is about de-risking or understanding the risk well. So now if you can use that technology to de-risk the markets or get more information near real time as what is happening, then you can put your circuit breakers, and that circuit breaker is usually in the form of finance. And where there's also big opportunity, mostly in the emerging and developing market, if we want to call them that, is really being able to bring that capital all the way down in a form which helps with trade, not just aid. And that's the biggest thing that you can see with DeFi.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. It sounds like, from everything we've heard today, I'm just learning the real sort of transformative power that these new kind of technologies and approaches can potentially have. Do you think that the industry is ready for that? Industry stakeholders are ready, and regulators, or is there more that kind of needs to be done?
There's a lot more that needs to be done. I mean, if you think about what has happened in the P2P world, and now it's happening in the buy now, pay later, the regulators are behind the 8 ball. And obviously, they're there to try and protect. And some of these have gone on the other side, people who shouldn't be borrowing. So we could, if they're not protecting, we could see repeat of 2008 with a total financial meltdown, which we all know crypto came out of, or let's say blockchain technology came from that space. And that is why it's very important to educate the regulators so that they understand what is there, what needs to be done, and how to actually put the circuit breakers that are necessary. I think that we are going to see, unfortunately or fortunately, regulation coming in the DeFi space. The last few weeks or months are definitely a result of this not being monitored, and it has cost a lot of people their livelihood. Now, we could say the people who are in there are limited because there are people who are in the know-how of crypto. But imagine this had been where the general public had access. And it's kind of what's happening in the buy now, pay later. So we need, as an industry, to regulate ourselves first rather than waiting after. And that's really where I think it's important. Organizations such as the UN, I've been actually speaking to IFAD, which is the International Fund for Agricultural Development. They already have a DeFi system. They actually deliver their aid to their producers, farmers, and are able to trace where the donor money has gone. And so I think we have an open door. We just need to push, but we also need to make sure ourselves that we understand not only the aspect of how do we not let this become a runaway train, but also protect those who we are going to be servicing. So which means, what is the data that we're capturing? Where is that data going? How is it being used? We don't want a situation where anybody can have access. So really privacy is the next thing that I think we need to be working on.
And I wonder, as I lead on our future identity portfolio, so I'm often thinking of the things from kind of that lens. Does digital identity come into that as well and play a role with your?
For me, so part of my work has been in digital identity. I see that there is so much out there. You've got the old guys doing it, who have done it very well, and you have now a lot of new players in this space. So it's pretty crowded, and I see no reason to get into the crowd. However, I do need to be able to identify the players on the application. So we are taking an open sort of view to where if it doesn't exist, we'll provide a solution, but it is just a temporary as this comes in. And my questions are really, until we have a government accepting those blockchain identities, we are still sort of have a risk. So I do believe we're going to have to do KYC. We're going to have to know, the whole Web3 is going to need to have identity as part of it. But there's so many great brains working on it. I'm just looking, and I'll be on the sideline making comments.
No, it's not a bad place to be. There's so much expertise here with all the sessions that we've got running today, and great to see kind of all the evolving projects around these types of areas. It's brilliant. It's a really interesting space to be in at the moment. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you're looking forward to the rest of the day. I know you're joining us on stage, and what else are you looking forward to from the rest of the event?
I haven't been able to step in yet because I keep running into people. I think it's the back into real life is really interesting, and also you forget the muscle of actually going in, and so it's I'm looking forward to learning more, because I think we've been sort of in a lab environment for the last couple of years, and there's a lot of wonderful things coming out from it, and really pushing the thinking, when it comes to blockchain, this whole idea of multi-chaining, multi-chain access, data. I'm so happy that they're finally starting to talk about what are we doing with data, and it's more than the hash data.
Yes.
So all those things.
Really getting into some of those real world applications of it. Brilliant. Well, it's been lovely to chat to you. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.